Hey guys, what's going on? In this video, of which I want to do some car rollers for you, but the weather's not coagulating in my area, if you know what I mean. So I thought it might be beneficial to look at some of the mounts that I'm going to use to do those rollers when the weather clears up. The Ulanzi SCO2 is a 4.5-inch suction mount, and the Neewer is a 6-inch suction mount. And so they have slightly different load capacities. We're also going to look at a set of Freewell filters. And I'll throw in a bonus tip for securing your suction mounts to your vehicle such that if the adhesion releases and lets go, you're not going to lose your expensive equipment. So with that out of the way, let's jump in and get to it. Let's take a quick look at the specs before we go any further. The Ulanzi SC02 camera suction mount comes with a magic arm. It's $49.95 US, supports 6.6 pounds, and has plenty of 1/4 20 and 3/8 airy mount holes. The Neewer 6-inch camera suction mount with magic arm and a pano feature is also $49.95 US, supports 11 pounds, has lots of 1/4 20 and 3/8 mount option holes. And then last but not least is the Freewell 4-pack Bright Day Quick Swap ND Polarizing Hybrid Filter Kit for the Osmo Pocket 3, and it's $69.95 US. And these little babies are magnetic mounts. And now we will return to our regularly scheduled programming. And so maybe we should start with filters first, because they're probably the easiest to deal with. This is a 4-pack of filters for your Pocket 3. And basically, you have a nice soft pad there. There's a little cloth for wiping the lens off. And let's make sure you can see those. So you've got an 8, 16, 32, and 64. And a nice handy little kit there. And they're magnetic, very straightforward. Also in the pack, you get some hashtags for the training videos and some basic instructions and a sticker. So nice little kit, not too expensive. And so now we need our Pocket 3. And to install these bad boys, basically what you want to do is, they're magnetic. So I'm just going to take one of these little gizmos off here. Oh, boy, are they ever magnetic. Holy cow. And I'm just going to pop it in place. Hopefully you can see that. And you want to put these on and take them off with the power off. And before you power off, take the filter off, because there's not enough room between the gimbal arm and the camera lens itself. So to put them on, you're just going to pop them in place like this. They're magnetic. And really the only thing you have to watch out for is that some of their filters will have an H or a V for horizontal vertical shooting, but in my case it says ND8/PL. You want to make sure that that white line is right in the middle. That's your polarizing filter, and then you can turn the dial to adjust them to taste depending on how much light you have outdoors at the time. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. So now let's take a look at one of these suction cup mounts. We'll get you started on that. Okay, so first up is the Ulanzi SCO2 suction cup mount, and I've already done a soft unboxing. I guess this is the hard unboxing. You get a nice little kit bag here, so not much to say about that. Keep all the accessories together. You get a GoPro mount. This was actually taped to the outside of the box, so I don't know if this was an afterthought or what, but it's much appreciated anyway. And then inside the box, what you are going to find is the actual suction mount, an Allen key. You're going to get your NATO rail and your magic arm here. So let's take this apart. We'll give you a good look at it all. There's the NATO rail. We'll put that right on top. And then there's your Allen key. And pop that out of the way. This over here, make sure you can see that okay. So you're going to take your Allen key, screw it down in place. Oh my God, these things are painful to use. This is what I prefer to use. I got these at Canadian Tire. You can probably get them at Harbor Freight in the US, but they're so nice. And they just speed up the job 100%. So you lock your NATO rail in place like this. Okay, move those off to the side. And so you'll notice that the Magic Arm has a NATO rail mount on one side and has a 1/4-20 on the other side. So it's really your choice how you want to use it. But typically you're going to take it something like this, stick it onto the nail rail, press it down, turn it like so, lock it in place, something like that. And then let's see if we can get this thing to suck onto my bench here. There she goes. And you want to keep pumping until that red line disappears, okay? Once the red line disappears, that's letting you know you got ample suction and it's not going to fall off the vehicle. So be careful of that one. And then to release it, it's just pull the tabs here. So there's one here, one on either side. Pull the tabs in, it releases the suction force, and away you go. As soon as you got everything tightened down, your Magic Arm gives you a whole amazing range of motion. I really like this Magic Arm. I have to say, it feels really premium. It holds in place, quite a nice piece of kit for sure. And you've got lots of mounting options here. So 3/8/16, 3/8/16, 1/4-20 on the other side, and the NATO rail. I mean, you really can't go wrong. So pretty straightforward stuff. I will take it out to the vehicle later and show you on the car how I mounted it up. The nice thing about having the extra mounting holes is you can use a little 1/4-20 eye bolt or a 3/8/16 eye bolt to run a strap through. In case this thing ever let go, you don't want to lose your expensive equipment, and I would recommend, highly recommend, that you do that. But you'll see it on the car in a little while. Okay, so the Neewer 6-inch suction mount for your vehicle or whatever you want to stick it onto. And let's open this up. This again is a hard opening. I've already done the soft opening. You get a Magic Arm, you get your GoPro mount, and then you get the suction mount itself. You also get some instructions and 2 Allen keys. Let's get this out of the way. And you get a couple of set screws here that you can use with the mount itself. And you also get a nice plastic protective cover for your rubber suction mount here, which is a nice touch. And so, again, same idea, plunk it down. If you can't build up suction, it means the surface you're on is not flat. So keep pumping until the white line disappears, which it has, and you are good to go. Same way to release it, 2 tabs, just pop it up, it will release. And then, now the nice thing about this one is if I turn this here, you have a pano wheel that you can adjust. That is much appreciated, let me tell you. Plus you also have a 3/8/16 set screw, 3/8/16 to 1/4, which you can put in any of the 3 holes here. You've got 1/4-20, 1/4-20, 1/4-20 on both sides, and then you've got a lock for your pano adjustment here. And the only thing I notice about this one, I would say, is that the Magic Arm isn't quite as nice as the Ulanzi. And I don't think it would be a deal breaker for me. That's good and tight. It kind of reminds me of the old Ulanzi Magic Arms with the rubber pad that always comes loose over time. I don't know if that's going to happen here, but will this do its job? Yeah, I'm sure it will, but just something I noticed between the two. So the Magic Arm on the Ulanzi is a little bit nicer, but then again, the Neewer has the pano adjustment, you know, which adds an extra layer of versatility that's kind of hard to beat. And the set screws you can put in here, so if you want to screw something else down to it, like, you know, a GoPro mount, you have that option. And then you've got a couple of Allen keys for your bolts here. You can tighten or loosen them up. Next up, I'm going to show you how to mount this to your vehicle. I'll show you the setup that I use, and then you'll have a really good range perspective to, you know, between this one, the Neewer, and the Freewell filters, and you can decide yourself. Actually, one little point about the Freewell filters, I was going to buy a set of Polar Pros. They're almost the same cost, but but the Polar Pro website wasn't working. And so the day I went to purchase them, I ended up getting the Freewells and haven't had any issues with them. So there you go. And I think because they have this little polarizing ring on them, they're a little easier to get on and off of your Pocket 3. But all in all of this stuff has worked pretty well so far. Okay folks, so I thought I'd show you the first setup here that I'm using, and I've got the SCO2 mounted onto the side of my car, and I've got some safety ropes here just going around the mirror harness. So really simple to do with one key. For those of you that might not be mechanically inclined, this is an eye bolt. You can get them at any hardware store, like under $1 to $1.50. And I'm going to show you two applications. I've got the Pocket 3 on the newer suction mount just on the windshield there, and it's pointing down, so giving you the bird's eye view. And I'm able to use my Mimo app on the phone here to give you that. But so what you're going to need to secure your suction mount is an eye bolt. Whether you go with a 1/4 20 or 3/8 16, that's up to you. In this case, I'm just using parachute cord, and what I like about parachute cord is that it's super strong. It's got a little bit of stretch to it. I've got 3 wraps around the side mirror here, and that's it. And then I can mount my Pocket 3 here, and I'm off to the races, and I don't have to worry. I've got a little bit of peace of mind that the thing's not going to fall off. And if it does fall off, you know, it'll just tap the side of the vehicle. I can pull over real quick, and hopefully no damage to the Pocket 3. You notice I said hopefully. Here's how I mounted the Pocket 3 to get that top-down shot to show you the suction mount on the side of the vehicle. And you could use this, I mean, you could certainly loosen this off and bring it up. Just tighten it up. If you want to do something like this, I mean, the sky's the limit with this one, and the difference between the 1/4 20 and the 3/8 16 here I'm using on this one here, the only reason I'm doing it is just to show you the options that you have. You could get away with a 1/4 20 on this mount here, and don't forget, this is the newer mount, so you've got this additional ability to pan with the camera. Now, some of you that are paying attention, you probably say, well, why do I need to pan, you know, if I've got the magic arm? But it's just an extra layer of convenience that it gives you for adjustment, and I find it quite useful. So I said at the end of the video that I would share my thoughts with you. I'm kind of leaning towards the Ulanzi SCO2 only because the magic arm on the newer is not that great. Now, if you're also paying attention, some of you are thinking, hey, I could just take the magic arm off of the, if you got both of them, you could take it off of the Ulanzi and use it on the newer one. So, but if I had a choice and I was on a budget, I'd probably buy the Ulanzi SCO2. But I think that, you know, you're getting a little bit more load capacity here. I think it's 6.6 pounds on the Ulanzi, and you're getting 11 pounds on the newer, and that's because of the 6-inch suction mount as opposed to 4.5. So that makes a little bit of a difference. So I'll leave that to you. So there's 2 ways that you can mount this. Another thing I mentioned earlier as well, when you're pumping this up, you want to make sure you don't see the white line. And I said you want to make sure that you're on a perfectly flat surface. Well, I've had the suction mount here. I've even put it on the side of the body. You can get away with the surface being a little bit concave or convex, and as long as it's not too aggressive, as long as you can get the appropriate suction, and you know, on a surface like this here on my vehicle, I've had it on, I mean, I've had it on the side of the vehicle, it's not perfectly flat, and it holds just fine. So just use your discretion, use common sense, and you'll be fine. Okay guys, so I promised you a pro tip, and here it is. If you're dealing with eye bolts like this, what you're going to find with the suction mount is that when you screw it in, it's only going to go in maybe 1/4 inch, which means you have to cut this, okay? And I'm going to show you the slickest trick for cutting bolts that you've ever seen. DIYers will know this, but you know, the average person wouldn't, so I thought it would be a real cool bonus tip for you. So you got your eye bolt, and really all you have to do is take the eye bolt and mount it into the vise, or some other device that you can use to hold it while you're going to cut it. Now, what we're going to do is most people would reach for one of these, your typical hacksaw, and like this. And this will work if this is all you have. I mean, go for it. But a much nicer way to do this is, for a very minimal price, Dremel has these easy lock cutting blades. And they are just the greatest thing since sliced bread. And what you do is the Dremel tool itself has a little spring-loaded end on it. And all you need to do is you take this over the top like this, you pull the spring down, turn this like that, and then this thing is in place, and that's all there is to it. And then, safety first, we'll cut through this bolt, show you how easy it is, and then you'll be off to the races. Okay, so that took me almost no time at all. Apologies for the shop vac there. And then it's a two-step process. I just take a file and clean off any of the burrs. And now you've got an eye bolt that's cut to size and ready to go. And I've said this before in some of my videos, every once in a while you come across a tool that you're going to use over and over again. And this is a Sears Craftsman. It's not even an official Dremel. I probably got this thing 20 years ago. And I would say I've had the cutting blade pack, and I'll put links in the description for you so you know exactly, you've got the exact details on it. This thing is invaluable. I use it time and time and time again. Cutting a bolt off a car, you know, doing stuff like this. It's just got so many uses. So that, my friends, is your pro tip for the day. Okay, so it's time for my final thoughts. If I was going to buy either one of these today, whether I'm on a budget or not, now, I think I mentioned earlier that the reason I purchase these is to mount my Pocket 3. So I'm not going to put my A7 IV or my A7 III on one of these things, but you could. Just depends on how brave you are. My choice would be the Ulanzi SCO2, and simply because when look at the magic arm on this thing, I mean, it's more beefy, it's far better made than what you have on the Neewer. Now, that said, I bought both of these with my own money, and the Neewer, I like the idea of it because of the 6-inch suction cup, and it holds a little bit more weight, 11 pounds compared to 6.6 with the Ulanzi. So, as far as, you know, mounting a Pocket 3 or a GoPro, either one of these guys will do. If you're on a budget, you want to pick up the Neewer, it'll be fine. It'll hold your Pocket 3, your GoPro, small camera, what have you, no issues. But regardless of what I mount on mine, it's definitely going to be tied off, okay? Because even the Pocket 3, unless you have that insurance coverage plan, it comes off. You just drop it from waist height, you're going to damage it. So that's my final thoughts on this. The Ulanzi SCO2 is the clear winner, in my humble opinion, but they both have their advantages. So you just have to decide, you know, what your needs are and what your budget is, and away you go. So if you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe, like, and notification bell for me. I really appreciate it. If you have questions, by all means, connect in. I'm happy to get back to you as soon as I can. And that's it for this one, guys. I'll see you in the next one.